Matt, Peter's introduced the whole idea of the dictionary here, and I think we should really have a quick look at the data specification screens and demonstrate how they offer the flexibility that Peter's been talking about, and really getting rid of that need for the costly rework of documents that are being delivered.
Yeah, I will jump into that now. So as I mentioned, we've got three sort of sections of this particular document. So we've got the Kspir header section, we've got the tag details section, we've got tag information, and we've got the spares or spare part and Kspir line section. We're going to actually edit this particular document. Once we come to this position, you can see the sort of the power of our data specifications. We'll go into actually the configuration in a moment, but every single field that you see in this particular document, whether that's all of the blue fields across the top here, all of the blue fields here, or any of the ones that are inside this particular specification, are all configurable to the requirements of not only that individual user, but the individual projects. So not only an individual owner operator, but they can change them per particular project. And this is set up at the project configuration stage when we start to work with different clients. So we'll go through with the team to say which fields do you need, and importantly, what are the constraints and the data constraints in that particular field. So an example of this is, let's say that we've got introduced a field called spares relationship to unit. Now, if I was coming to edit this field in an Excel document, I could probably type in whatever I wanted. So what we've done here is we've linked a list of values to this particular field. So the OEM who's coming to fill this in can only select from a list of values. If they choose to put in a value that's not valid against your specification, which in some cases may be relevant, then at least we know that and we can measure that this value is not particularly valid. Importantly, something I didn't touch upon in the first demonstration is we can actually see the history of all of these different, the audit history of all of the different, sorry, not that particular one, the audit history of all of the different fields in this particular Kspir document. But let's go back to the specifications. So when you're building up the configuration of this, we have here three different specifications: the Kspir document header details, the Kspir tag details, and the spare parts details. I'll go into one of these now. So down here, you can see that each of these are properties that we can add, and they are highlighted in blue because, as Peter mentioned, they are concepts from a concept dictionary. So a concept dictionary essentially means we can link various different terminology and in the same language and in different languages to these properties and definitions as well. So that they are understandable in your own language, whether that's a foreign language or a synonym, or a language that's the same language but synonymous to it. So if you use type of part or spares relationship to unit to describe this, you can select your own language there. And we've got a definition to say, to give some context to this particular field. Each field then is assigned a data type. And list of values, string and measured values are the most common data types in our system. We try to avoid using strings where possible, but where we do use strings, we try to add a representation if it's relevant. And we also can add different units of measures. So if you've got a particular measured value that has a particular unit of measure and a representation, we can add that into the system to ensure data is being captured in a single, in a consistent and accurate way across all of your documents. So each OEM, no matter what document they're filling in, is choosing from this particular list. I think that as I said, we can do this per project and per specification. So each of those individual parts of the Kspir document can be managed in that way. And an additional thing that I'll touch upon quickly before I hand back to you, Jonathan, is we can also add in sensitivity of different fields and privacy. So you can add what's called private networks to each of your individual fields, and then that you can invite different organizations to join that particular private network. And when they're viewing that version of the document, they will view the fields that are relevant to them. If they're not included in a private network, then they won't see that particular field. Before I do hand it back, sorry, Jonathan, I'm also going to go into actually the dictionary. So As I've said, all of these particular properties or the values all come from a concept dictionary. Example here of deep groove ball bearing, where we've got various different sources of the terminology deep groove ball bearing. We've also got different translations. This comes from your concept dictionary. By using Kiosk, the software, and Kspir in particular, you also get this concept dictionary with it as part of the configuration. It can double up as a business glossary. So if you've got information that you want to share around the business in terms of key acronyms, key abbreviations, and terminology that you use across your project, then they can be added to this. And these are the building blocks, the Lego blocks that Peter was referring to, that are used to build up your specifications and control the quality of your data in the project.